Hey guys, this is Casey Santana with Cheap Entertainment. We are off to another start with an amazing guest. We've got Stix from our community. I know many of you guys are familiar with him. Thank you for coming on today. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate
Of
it.
course. Now, there's a couple things that I normally ask my guests when they come on. Do you normally have a morning routine? And does that morning routine possibly include any sort of cannabis?
You know what? I don't. I actually have equity in a CBD brand out here in Colorado called Receptra Naturals,
Great.
and the product's amazing. It's like anything, trying to get that little piece of the pie in the business, and it was a new foray in my world when I got involved with them before Liquid Death. And again, I still have equity in the brand, and so CBD is really my go-to. I had a full knee replacement in May, and my better half, she is a yoga instructor, psychic medium, basically health and wellness. So she's taught me to actually meditate.
Mhm.
But with my new knee, you have to get up and stretch all the time. But I find that having some CBD and some topical, like
Yeah.
it's part of my regime now. I don't drink coffee,
Great.
but I'll have a sugar-free Red Bull. But I really start with a little bit of meditation, which is very hard for me because I'm 100 miles an hour,
Yep.
and then some stretching. But honestly, it is putting in some tincture. It just sometimes I need more than others. Depends if I'd skated the night before or something like that. And you lube the chassis, so to speak. You
Yep,
know.
100% has to happen. Just think it's like, we think of ourselves as a car and, it's this moving thing. We got to keep it, tuned up. And I think CBD is the best part for that. So again, if you guys don't know, Stix is who I go to for if I need water at my events. And can you tell us who you are as far as where you are with Liquid Death?
Well, my role is I was actually employee number 6, and we started in 2019, and now we're approaching the 200 person mark. Not quite yet, but it's grown exponentially. But my title that Mike Cesario, the founder and brainchild of Liquid Death, he bestowed on me is Vice President of Cult Indoctrination.
Awesome.
And what I think generally everything we do over here is really tongue in cheek and having fun. Is that more or less I'm here to build the brand equity. I'm here to at the end of the day, make it so our salespeople aren't selling, they're taking orders. It's building the brand equity, building that groundswell, getting cans in hands, liquid to lips, whatever you want to call it. And we've had great response in the cannabis space. And I don't know if some of the listeners here may have seen what we did with Wiz Khalifa, who's actually an investor in Liquid Death, where we want this to be the bong water of choice. We're the purest water out there, 100% Austrian spring water. So we've embraced that. I mean, the whole culture is something that, people cottonmouth real, and, we realize too the medicinal benefits of cannabis for people. And it's really nice for me. And I truthfully, I'm not a smoker myself, but the products, as I said, with the CBD and the derivatives of such, I believe in. And I'm glad to see that the stigma is kind of wearing off, because before it was considered, oh, it's a drug and it's so negative. We're embracing it. We're like, you know what? This actually, if used properly, is good for you. Just like our product is the best beverage you can consume for your body. So there is a meeting there between cannabis and what we're doing at Liquid Death. I mean, Mike would love to see us in every single dispensary if we could, but there's rules. Apparently, we're finding out with how that would work. But why wouldn't we? We're a total compliment to what people do, because so many people. I frankly think I'm one of the few people in my friend group that doesn't smoke. That a lot of people do it at home to unwind, have it maybe before bed.
Right.
I get it. No judgment here, but we embrace it. But really my role, back to your original question, is my role is basically to expose the brand to as many people as you possibly can in different industries, scenes. And it doesn't matter your background, how old you are, none of that. We're water. And so I have a very, very exhausting job because there's no rest. I mean, previous I'd worked for an alcohol company. I'm limited, right? Yep. You got to be 21 and over, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't want it to be the Aspire 2 alcohol. I mean, so you're kind of marketing to the younger kids, even though you're not supposed to. But this is something where it's water. I mean, there's no holds barred here. Like, obviously we're very careful of things, because you could have too much water and die. You could have too little water and die. Like, we don't ever want to promote something that would be anything negative or health, that would be bad for your health. But nonetheless, we hopefully that answers your long-winded way question of what I do over here.
It does. And you kind of touched on the last point there is health. I did a little backstory, and I did realize that you guys originally start realizing that Liquid Death has an image. I know it's a little disruptive, it's fun, it's edgy, but ultimately your packaging is so eye-catchy. And when I look back at reading, what the founder decided as far as the junk food always having the cool images and nothing that's healthy has such an edgy look like that. And I thought that was a great approach. I'm seeing it from Target to Stater Brothers. I think you guys do a phenomenal job with what you do as far as creating that community for branding. There's no question about that. So I bet you it's exciting to work for a company like that.
Yeah, it is.
And exhausting, maybe.
Yeah,
Going
no,
so fast.
oh, absolutely. I just said to someone, I'm yeah, once a meeting, and I said, I'm traveling more than a scout for the Taliban right now. I swear to God. But to your point, when you said with the packaging, which again was all Mike, but if you really think about it, I mean, it purposely looks the way it does. And I know from a distance, some people look like it either looks like a beer or a shitty energy drink. But why is it that all the stuff that's bad for you has the most fun marketing? If you think about snacks, candies, certain beverages, they aren't good for you, but they're having the most fun. And here we're marketing something that's the healthiest thing you can consume. And where we're really having, not only has people in the cannabis space embraced us, but it's the sober community, and case in point, one of our investors is Metallica, and James, the lead singer, is recovering. I mean, for a guy like him to be able to walk on stage with a can, and he still feels part of that. He's a rock star, right? But then the flip side is you've got people who are designated drivers, you've got people who are sober, or people who just don't choose to drink. I mean, you read everywhere, a lot of kids now are embracing sobriety, which is cool. Now they may smoke, but they're embracing that part of it, which is cool. So there's something in the psychology of having a can in your hand versus a glass with a lime in it. With a group in a setting, you almost feel like it's like a placebo effect. You almost feel more part of the group to have this can in your hand. Yeah. And that's it. We really want to make it like this should be an accessory. Just like someone has a Louis Vuitton purse or something, you have that Liquid Death in your hand, you're someone, like it's a badge of honor. And you're also seeing the fact, what? It's cool to hydrate. Like hydrating is important. And I think you being a mother, the music to my ears that I've gotten from moms, and it's the ultimate compliment is they've said, because of you, my child wants to drink water. That's you can't ask for any more than that, right? But my continued job is to build this brand awareness because people still don't know who we are. They really don't. And yes, to your point, thank you. I love to hear that you're seeing it at retail, but how many of your mother and your mother group know about it yet? So that's just something to think about. I would love to have every soccer mom. I would love to have every dance recital. I would love to have every, name it that has to do with kids. I want us there. Soccer leagues. There's nothing stopping us, from that. But what is stopping us is our bandwidth. And, we are a premium product. I can't keep on this pace of just giving product out for free all the time. Like, yes, right now it's sampling, it's discovery, but it's getting to the point where I'm stretched because it's very expensive. And what some people don't realize, it's very, very, very expensive to ship water because it's so heavy. So that's right. We really get killed is that on that, which anything heavy is going to get that way. But I appreciate your feedback as a mom and to hear that you're seeing it out there.
My daughter sometimes fights me all day for it, and then my son wants to just play with the cans after it, so it's always fun. And then, to be honest, some of your boxes are so intriguing that I kind of keep them around sometimes and just have them for like collectibles. But I'm like, I feel like I should be collecting these boxes. They have every one of them is different for every flavor. Yeah.
We actually have the original artwork was done by Will Carsola, which some people would know as Mr. Pickles. That's what the original cartoon we did. But I actually brought over a dear friend of mine I worked with hand in hand. I was at Pabst Blue Ribbon for years. He actually started the Pabst art program from scratch. So he created from nothing, just kind of harnessed the power of art and did the whole can art program. Now, we don't let anyone touch our cans here at Liquid Death, but now what we shifted to is a case art program. And the beautiful thing is, most artists are starving, right? Yeah. So if this is a way that we can get a little kickback and we can get their name out there, we'll do that. So we have artwork constantly rotating through there. And so that is something that's been, his name is Andrew Hurd, and he's been killing it. Like, he's just doing an amazing job. He also, if you look at our merch offering, he'll broker the deals with the artists for the t-shirts. Let's say if we approve from a guy or girl, or that we'll do a t-shirt design, which is a win-win for all, because we have a cool thing to sell and they are making money and they're getting their name out there. So that's very important to us. So I'm glad that you're noticing that too. You're obviously very astute with all this. That's great.
Yeah, no, I love your page. A lot of the merch on there. I love everything that you guys do. You particularly, as far as service to the community, you're a mentor for Leeds School of Business at the University of Colorado.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. You've got a lot of hats that you're wearing there and busy man. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's such an unorthodox career path. I was raised, fortunately, in a very, shall we say, academically driven family. I'm the only one in my family without a master's degree. Let's put it that way. And I took this career path. I started my career in action sports, and it was tough. Like I definitely, quote unquote, paid my dues to get to where I am today. And I'm proud of that fact. But I sat back one day, and my father passed away last year, unfortunately. But one of the bits of advice he gave me was, one of the most valuable things you can give someone is your time. And I thought, there was no one there to mentor me to try to find this career path, because I grew up in my day, it was you're a doctor, lawyer, or stockbroker,
Yeah.
maybe real estate. That's the only way to make big money at the time. We're not talking tech, massive 7-figure money that people are pulling in now. But like back in the day, that was in the 90s, that's what you did to make a career, quote unquote.
Right.
And I took a completely different approach. And I want kids, I want to be able to share my knowledge with that. Like, it is possible to have a career where you really enjoy what you do. And I have. I really have. Like, I've not one stop in my career if I said, oh, this sucks. Because you look at where I've been, I stay places. I don't hop brand to brand. And I want to leave my mark. So if I can work with these students, the guys and girls, the only part that gets a little awkward, to be honest with you, I sit on these panels and I go speak to the kids, is that they'll oftentimes bring people in from other industries, whether it is insurance or healthcare or whatever. And none of the kids give a shit about what any of these people are saying. They just want to talk to me, because they're interested in my career, which is flattering. It is. But I feel kind of bad if it's someone from like a telecommunications company and no one's asking them a thing. Or it's someone from, again, healthcare, or maybe they work for a medical device company and they're very successful in their own right. But it's just the kids want to hear my path. But I think I owe it to them too, especially having, twin teenage boys myself. Everyone's so wrapped around their phones when you speak of Instagram that the world's flying by. And it's like, you know what? Depression's real. And if you're all thinking you're all going to have your toes in the sand, unless you have a trust fund, it ain't happening. Most jobs suck. And so part of what I do is to say, yeah, be prepared. And you know what? Get out of the gate, be a sponge. Learn as much as you can, even if you hate it, because the biggest thing you're going to do is learn what you don't want to do. And I don't think enough people do that. And so if I can help these kids and I help them with cover letters, I'll look at their resume. I'll help them if they're looking at a job, like give them feedback on any project, anything I can do. I just feel that it's really important. Anyone out there, if you can help people, you do it. And so that's the onus behind it. But I love it. I get assigned students that I work with and kind of not hold their hand, but they're wide-eyed, in the bright lights when they graduate. What the heck am I going to do?
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
that I just try to help with the transition. So that's a long-winded way of answering your question, but I really enjoy, and I actually had my substitute teaching certificate. So before I had children, I would actually substitute at the local high school when I could. And I really enjoyed it, but I also knew that I didn't want to be a teacher 9 months of the year and then 3 months off. Like, I need that dose of it. But if I can step in and make a kid's day better, then I've accomplished it. And maybe they learned a little something.
I think the kids are more receptive to you being a mentor than a teacher. So I think it was a good route to go that way, at least in my opinion. Knowing what you don't want in life as a brand, whatever it is, I think is more important than knowing that, and then it can navigate from there. So it's I guess a privilege for them to have you in Colorado and as a mentor. That's really cool. And I'm sure maybe some of those people that aren't being asked questions are learning and taking it like, damn, the liquid death guy was getting all the questions. And so maybe, a little bit of eye opener for them. Important to know, like, if we could just stick to water, like me, myself personally, when I was bodybuilding, water, a gallon of water is what we were required to take. And that was just the bare minimum. So I think understanding how important water is, it is an essential, but the way you guys are doing it makes it really fun. I can see a lot of the skater communities rocking this, at the skate park. We appreciate what you guys put into it. I appreciate more that the people behind it are as authentic as you. I mean, obviously I don't know everybody on the team. I saw a little clip of Mike talking a little bit about how he created the brand and the backstory of it. And then obviously I've worked with you and grown with you in the past year. And so I'm looking forward to just growing community with you and just having you in my own personal network. Is there anything from our end where we can support you, support Liquid Death? And is there anything that we can help you in your mentorship or anything like that you want to pin out?
No, but it's good to know when I think about it, because cannabis isn't going anywhere, right? Like, meaning it's here to stay. So, that's a really interesting point that I could even bring up with the students, because guaranteed when I sit in front of these hundreds of kids, there's going to be them that smoke. I mean, we're in Colorado,
Oh, yeah.
so, or use in some capacity. So that's a really good question, because I think because for so long, it was kind of taboo to talk about the industry, that it's a legit industry. It's a very, very thriving industry. It's crazy. It's wild, wild west from what I saw in my CBD days. But having said that, you're seeing the ones who are the cream rises to the top, right? There's some really solid organizations out there. There's other that are fly by night, and that happens, but that happens in anything. It happens in skateboarding. Board brands come and go, all the time. But I think that is an interesting point that I may bring up next time and say, is anyone interested in getting into cannabis? And I think that's where you could be a resource, send them your way. Because these kids, everyone, even myself, we all need to keep learning. All right. You got to evolve. You got to learn. And I don't think kids know enough. I don't know if your industry's done a very good job explaining that this is a legit industry. Like, this is, yes, you can go into medicine. Yes, you can go into architecture. Yes, you can go into real estate. Cannabis is real. Like, I don't think the industry does a good enough job of letting these kids, these very smart guys and girls coming out of college, who could help you, who could be an asset. They're going to need to get their feet wet and be a fly in the wall and learn and learn and learn. And unfortunately, in the society today, a lot of people have this sense of entitlement that they are supposed to be a director tomorrow or a marketing manager tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And even for me, like my team in particular, Liquid Death, like I don't ever post jobs. I know who I want and I grab them. Like I cherry pick mine. I don't do that, and it's worked. I'm very proud of the team that Mike has let me put together. But they need to keep learning too. I mean, 2023 is a huge year for Liquid Death for many reasons. And I think that, we're the beverage industry, it's been around forever, right? But there's always room for something new. And everyone's saying you're a disruptor. I know that word gets used a lot, but no one's done anything in water. I mean, think about that. It's just kind of there. And those other brands that are there, I mean, they're not bad for you. Like nothing's negative, but it's just not quality. That's the thing people don't realize. Like, so many people go in attack mode on me and LinkedIn and go, oh, you're just a gimmick. You're just water in a can. No, we're legit Austrian spring water. Our water purity tests are on our website. You can have a look yourself. And then, not to get off on a tangent, but like, we're putting our money where our mouth is, where we donate. We have 3 charitable partners, 2 of which concentrate on cleaning the oceans of plastic. Every month, they're getting % of our proceeds, or profits, sorry. And we're giving them money to clean up the ocean. Like, we're putting our money where the mouth is. This sustainability and this plastic problem is real, and it's a bad one. And I'm embarrassed to say how little I knew about it before I joined Mike. And Mike is very, very passionate. But if you poll kids nowadays, as I said to you earlier, they're not that into drinking, and they're really concerned about the planet. It's true. And I hate to say this, and pardon my English, but we're fucked. I mean, with this plastic stuff, it is bad unless something changes. So we're really, really passionate about this plastic problem and bringing.
You guys put that stuff on your website?
Yeah. Look, you can put 3 charitable partners. You can see one's 5 years. One is called Pangea Seed. And then our third one's called the Thirst Project, which actually has nothing to do with our cans at all. It actually is just to help build wells in impoverished nations who need clean drinking water. That's it. Like, there's no branding everywhere. There's nothing like that. It's like, literally, we're here to do some good. But you know what? We're going to have fun while we're doing it. That's the key. Like, every day I want, and Mike said it best, and I'm the same way. I have some of the best friend groups in the world, and they're very funny, but they're a tough crowd. So if I can make them laugh, I know we're onto something. You know what I mean? And Mike's the same way. There's certain things I'll throw at Mike, and he'll be like, he'll be like, won't even react. And then I'll think it's kind of dumb. And he'll go, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's dig in on that, So it's ever changing every day. But back to your original thing, I think that everyone should who have these successful businesses in cannabis need to get that word out there, because I think there's a lot of talent that don't realize that it's legit and they could help you. I think that there's jewels in the rough out there of students that would be really, I think, a great asset for some of these brands. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are a little bit more open to education. I think they've realized that there's still a huge education that needs to be filled. And for me, this is why I'm doing conversations like this, because I feel having open conversations is an easy way to educate other people. It reaches different people. Keeping them nice and short is enough to get maybe the younger generation to listen to who you are, a little bit of, where we can support one another and where they can learn from you. Because at the end of the day, it's always about growing. I mean, obviously, if I'm going to continue, getting older, I want to better myself and be of service to my community as far as my family, as far as who my audience is. And so I'm excited to, just be in the same network as you and maybe learn different things from you guys. I know different universities here in California are now focusing on different, I don't know what you would call them, maybe chapters in universities that are focused on just cannabis education. USC has one now. I don't know about UCLA, but to see things like that is really, really nice to see a little bit of that happening. We have Oaksterdam. We have different type of educational programs that people can certify themselves into if that's something that they're interested in, as far as actually being a cultivator and actually going in the growing part of cannabis. But it's not something that people would know about unless they did their own research. And so this is why I think having podcasts like this is important, because if you are able to reach the people that you reach and the people that you're talking to, maybe you do run into somebody that's interested in cannabis and they just are way too intimidated or don't know where to start because it's changing. It's rapidly moving through every different states, and it's, everybody's not recreational. Not understanding all of that can be completely overwhelming. I know myself didn't even come out about cannabis till I became a mom, and that was because I needed to know how much of this is safe. And so I can imagine, people coming out of college not understanding where to go about this. So I'm glad that you are out there and you're helping people out in Colorado, and hopefully, they expand themselves from there. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. You guys can follow www.liquiddeath.com for any of that information regarding the charity. How about the ocean work? Is that also on there? Like, are you guys keeping up to date on the news? Like, okay, that's really cool. I'll have to check that out. It's not something you hear about often unless, like I said, it's something you're looking for, because media does its own thing. So I think it's important that you have such a big impact, and you guys are going to do good things.
Well, I hope so. And I appreciate you having me. And I guess,
yeah,
in closing, what you just mentioned, I think anyone who is listening, who's involved in cannabis space, I think it would behoove you to approach these universities. Universities are always looking for content, always looking for ways to help their programming with the students and some of the academia. There's some really, I think, talented kids out there, and they do need their handheld. But I think anyone who's got a successful business, plus it's a win-win. You're getting the name out of your brand. You're getting it out there to the kids. But offer up that, where if you can mentor the kids and have them do internships in the summer, have them be around there, have them show them the whole process from seed to retail.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important, because it's a legit business. So that would be my bit of advice, is that your business is huge, but it could even be more well refined and be considered even more of a legit business. Not that it isn't, but some people still look at it because it's taboo. Yeah. That there's a new wave of talent out there. And I think every brand would be silly not to at least expose yourself to these kids that are coming out of school. So that's my 2 bets on that. But I think that, your business is going to keep growing. It's legit. And we embrace it over here at Liquid Death. So
thank you. I appreciate that, Stix. Thank you again for tuning in. And thank you again, Stix. You guys have a great one.
I appreciate it.